It can be tempting to dive right into creating your website without having a plan first. But when you set aside a little bit of time beforehand to make a plan, you'll make the process so much easier and so much faster in the long run. Hi, I'm Alli, and I help emerging entrepreneurs like you level up your business online with a brand and a website that stands out to your dream clients. And part of making that connection is to understand your audience's journey so that you can meet them where they're at now and then lead them toward your desired end result. This is why having a sitemap or an outline of what will go on your website is so important. You can keep it simple by outlining what pages will appear on your website and in what order inside of your navigation menu, or you can take it a step further and start outlining what content will appear on each of those pages. Either way, having a sitemap will make creating your website so much faster and easier. It's kind of like when you go to make a craft or to bake a cake. If you don't have all of your supplies or your ingredients set up and ready to go, you'll end up running around wasting a bunch of time trying to piece everything together while you're in the middle of the project, rather than having it all set and ready in front of you, making sure that everything is already accounted for. So let's go over the 4 steps to creating a sitemap for your website. Number 1, determine your call to action. Every page on your site should have a purpose and should tell your audience what to do next. The last thing you want them to be thinking is, now what do I do? If they're lost or confused, they'll just click away in search of an easier path. So it's a great idea to start with your desired end result. What is it that you want your viewer to do before they leave your site? Do you want them to book a call, request a quote, or maybe download your freebie or your lead magnet? Once you know your primary call to action, you'll want it to be front and center on your website. And you'll want your pages to be set up in a way that takes your viewer on a journey that quickly and easily gets them to take that action. Number 2, brainstorm your content. Now that you know what it is that you want your audience to do, it's time to start thinking about what content you need to include on your website to get them to do it. If you already have a website, then you can start by going through your current content. Have a look at each of your pages and decide if that content is still relevant and make a decision as to what you'll keep and what you'll delete. If there are any gaps in your content, you can also think through what pages you could use to fill any of those holes. If you're starting from scratch, think through what your dream client needs to know before they'll take the action that you want them to take. Remember that your website needs to act more like an initial handshake rather than an in-depth guide into all of the details of your business. No one has time to sift through a ton of unnecessary information, and they won't. So keep it brief and remember to only include the most necessary information. Let your audience know what's in it for them, how they can work with you, why they should trust you, and what they should do next. It can be helpful to look at some of your competitors' websites and make note of how they present the content. Do you like the way that they move you from page to page as you go through the site? Or do you see any gaps in the flow or maybe opportunities that they may be missing? Number 3 is to sort, group, and organize. With all of your ideas now out of your head and onto the paper, it's time to make a card for each page that you think you'd like to include on your website. So you can use old school sticky notes, one for each page, or you can use an online sitemap builder like SlickPlan in order to do this process electronically. At the top will be your primary navigation pages. So start with the pages you know you'll include, like About and Contact. If you have a store, you'll need a checkout or a shopping cart. Then add any other top-level pages like services, testimonials, or case studies, and a blog. A great idea is to add a button directly to your primary call to action. This will act like a shortcut to lead your viewer to where you want them to go. Ideally, your main navigation will have less than 5 links, so think about how you can categorize and group your pages so that they fall into one of these primary topics. As you start grouping like pages together, add the cards as subpages below your top navigation. And number 4 is to think through your user's journey. Now, with your sitemap planned out, try to look at it with fresh eyes, just like your dream client will when they've just found you. So imagine that they just land on your website and play out a few different scenarios of what they might be looking for and see how easy it is for them to navigate and find that information that they need. For example, let's say you're a home organizer. How easy is it for your viewer to find out if you offer a service that they're looking for? What if they want to know how much it costs? Or what if they're looking to see results of your work? Is it clear what they need to do next if they want to get more information? If it takes you more than 3 clicks to find what you're looking for, then it's time to cut some clutter. Maybe some of your subtopics don't actually need their own unique pages, and instead that content could actually be included right on the primary page. Other things like your open hours may be important enough that they need to be easy to find right away. If that's the case, it may make perfect sense to add those to your footer so they'll appear at the bottom of every page. Your sitemap will work as a blueprint as you move forward and start to gather content for your website. By doing this planning first, your project will go so much smoother and will have less bumps along the way. So what is the next step in the plan? Great question, and that's why I created my free 30 Days to Launch Playbook. It's a checkable calendar and guide that will tell you all of the steps you need to take and in what order when it comes to launching or relaunching your business online in just 30 days. Head over to free30daylaunch.com to get it. But before you do, click subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I'll see you next time.